Alright, so this is my Fit Busters for my Instagram. If you're not following me, at Muscle Whisperer Josh, that's on Instagram. I did a video where I'm basically talking a little bit in response to Ashley Black Guru's Fascia Blaster post describing the Fascia Blaster versus a foam roller. And so I'll talk about basically the same thing she did. I I mean this not to be like a battle or anything like that. I'm very passionate about what I do. It's a very unconventional way, and a lot of things the way I do. It works, and everything that I've done is proven in science, and I can prove it time and time again with multiple different things. I know her stuff works. I've seen it. I understand the concept behind it. I think it's extremely invasive the way you're doing it, but so is cupping, and so is a lot of other things. So I mean, to each their own. Shoot, I'll take the thing and scrape on me, and make some stuff happen. I just don't prefer to do it that way. I'm just saying this is a matter of responding to the comments you made about the foam roller specifically and how fascia works. Her description wasn't terrible or bad or anything. It was very much the way we thought about fascia 20 years ago, and that's the way that everything is surrounded and interlocks, and the way it's the web. And so I mean, fascia is mucus essentially. It is basically mostly water. It's boogers if you want to completely think about it, and that's why it can be frayed apart and pulled in fibrous kind of ways and twisted and whatever, and it basically forms and twists and contorts whatever way it needs to for the support that the body is building it up for. It's the beginning of the next progression of scar tissue, and then the following would be calcification. Those would be the three stages of tissues. You have regular fascia, which is connective tissue, progresses to scar tissue, which has 7 times the pain receptors, so therefore the body is trying to spread that pain signal out. That's how pain can come and go. Then you have, when the body realizes there's such neglect in the area, it will calcify the area and basically immobilize it. It's preventing a signal getting in there. It knows there's potential damage going to happen, and it's blocking that out. So but that being said, when the body does that, there is no way you're coming from the outside in and doing anything scraping away. The problem with that is, if you have an area that is essentially incapacitated, it's completely surrounded and blocked from our nervous system, which is connected to us, even contacting that point. So scraping at the surface is simply just going to expose this deep wound that we have. It's not going to create anything more than this erratic pattern in the nervous system. You have to remember, if you take your fingers across sunburn, that's going to make your entire area. If I did it on my leg, my whole leg would light up. I mean, you guys could feel it just thinking about what I'm talking about right now. And if you scraped it like that, that's essentially what you're doing on an area that's calcified or something. That area is so detached in a way from sensation. It's desensitized so much that when you go to do that, it creates this erratic signal. It's almost like you're screaming at your nervous system. And we have to remember, there's a physical thing that we do with pressure from any kind of tool that we're using, and there's a nervous system response, and that's the main thing that we have to focus on. That's what I focus on with my work. That's why my work is called compression stretching, simply because that is what gravity does to us, and that's all we have to oppose. When gravity presses down on us, we have to supersede that pressure by putting more pressure in the right way, and we'll stimulate a response from our own nervous system to come back and create contact between those 2 points that have lost contact. So you have an area that is hardened in whatever way. It doesn't have to be calcified. It could be any progression of that tissue hardening in order for the body to build whatever support it feels like it needs to build. It's creating artificial support essentially, but that signal is dampened. It's lost. It's not there as much as it used to be. So therefore, I used to think I was pushing from the outside in to heal people, and that's where I used to think exactly the way that her concept with the fascia blaster. And like I said, I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. It does work, guys. Okay, but this is my thing when I'm talking about just the way I work, the way the foam roller works, and the way that fascia actually works. The foam roller, the reason I tell you not to roll back and forth is because you're doing the same thing as the fascia blaster. You're making the nervous system it's essentially what it's doing, because you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The fascia blaster is crazy the way you're doing it, okay? So you can teach yourself to get used to that. If you look at my videos, I'm not talking trash because I could show you the videos of the Theragun that I use on there, and it's the same way when somebody's getting used to that. It's a very erratic feeling, you know. The vibration therapy penetrates through scar tissue. That's my favorite way of doing it. That's what I would do instead of the Theragun, the Fascia Blaster. I would get a Theragun or something equivalent. It is compression therapy, it is vibration therapy, and it is massage therapy, essentially, in the same thing. The vibration therapy ignores scar tissue and things like that. That typically you wouldn't be able to get pressure of my hand, wouldn't get that response because it's essentially like a bone. There's just no response through it until we actually break up some of those layers. But the Theragun, the vibration will actually skip those layers. It doesn't care about them because the vibration, whatever it can pass through and touch, which it'll go right through it, and you'll feel vibration all the way through your body. So that is stimulating a response through the nervous system. It's helping to get a connection between those pathways that we lost before. So the foam roller, what does it do? Okay, it does. The reason I said to go away from the rumble roller is the same exact reason I would say that the Fascia Blaster is kind of not my everyday tool. Would I use the Fascia Blaster? Yes, trust me. I'll probably like connect with Ashley and get one for myself and play with it, so I can. And I really like took a second to say a prayer and made sure that I didn't say anything that would come off harsh or anything like that, because I didn't want, like I said, to start a war or anything like that. I just want to say my opinion based on the way a foam roller works and the way Fascia works. Theragun, stuff like that, it's the same thing. There's certain things that I wouldn't use as my everyday thing. That's why I recommend in switching back. And you see my first foam rolling guide, it had the rumble roller in there, and I changed it up because the black density roller is solid blunt pressure, and that is truly what gains the response from the nervous system that we're looking to get. You need to put pressure on that point that needs it. Okay, that muscle that's so shortened and compacted, you need to create that pressure and start that stretch. You need to start stimulating that nervous system to get a draw in there. Our body's electricity, it's impedance. It's essentially you're just going to create a draw on that current and pull it to that area you're doing. That's what you're doing. So don't think about, I'm going to jam this roller into my leg. And I guarantee you, if you guys think about that and then you think about exactly what I'm about to tell you, it will feel like entirely different. Think about pressing into a stretch, and that you're thinking about drawing energy to it, like you're pulling from the inside. As you push in, you're feeling the blood come to it, you're feeling those things come to it. It'll work, trust me. And when you do, it might take a second to get going on this and get that actual feel I'm talking about, but when you do, you start to pull that connection back between there. And that's what is really going to dissipate fascia. Fascia is built there for a reason. This is the reason that I don't believe in traditional massage therapy or even deep tissue or sports massage therapy, is because it's a groping. You're scraping things away. You're just breaking stuff up. I'm here to tell you guys it's no different than going and training in the gym. You're loading up your body all over. This is like a bunch of repetitions. Just think about it. You're just scraping stuff away, a bunch of repetitions. Your body's going to build it right back up. So to me, I would almost take the Fascia Blaster and I would use this in a very methodical motion, because you want to create as much of, you want to break up as much tension as you can with the least amount of draw on the nervous system you can, because that area is already kind of screwed up that you're trying to work. That's why you're working it. So to sit there and just go boom, 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 it's not even really a strong area. It's already weakened. So for us to sit there and just go real aggressive at it, that's what I would encourage to do if you're going to use the Fascia Blaster. Me personally, and in that, Ashley, let's connect in some way. Get me one of those things, and I'll purchase it. I don't need freebies, and I'll try it out like that. And I just want to see just different ways, because I got to try it no matter what. I've knocked a lot of things that I've tried that I've ended up liking. So, but anyways, back to the black density roller. So when you press on it, you get into these things, you draw from the inside out. Now, when you free up these areas, you want to go right around the joint. That's the most effective area you can ever work, because the muscles are only tight because they're trying to realign a joint, period. That's science. Once a muscle is tight past a certain point, fascia begins to build. That's the truth. That's the way that fascia works, as far as in response to what our body is telling us, or telling, nervous system, everything like that is creating this situation based on what we have, like tension in the body, if we have had bad knee pain or different things like that. As we start to move these things, there's going to be new fascia that builds up or whatever, as we have this healing curve and stuff. But fascia basically builds up in a neglected area, or if we left the muscle too short, or different things like that. So if you keep loading up the same thing, if you sit in the car like this for whatever, a few hours a day, or if you drive for a living or something like that, you should really focus on sitting up straight and stuff, because the more load you put on any area of your body, it's going to create more fascia. The fascial network is essentially a big web of weight distribution. So if somebody pushes me like this, imagine like one of those movies where they have all the numbers and stuff in like Tron. I don't know if you've seen that. But it hits here and there's like 100% pressure. And then you see all the numbers get smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes out. Well, that's exactly what the fascia does. It's a big web and it's all interconnected, surrounded through, under. It surrounds nerves, bones. There's nothing in our body it doesn't surround. There's nothing in our body it's not part of. It is the web. Muscle is made up of fascia. Everything is made. Connective tissue starts everything, essentially. So it's just to say fascia like we discovered this new entity. It's the fascial network that's the fascial network we talk about. But if you talk about it to like people who are in the medical field and stuff, they're just like, I mean, that's the whole body essentially, But all it's meant to do is just distribute weight properly, so that if you take a bench press and boom, we just take a bench and we're like, oh, my chest, I'm feeling on my chest and my triceps, man, my chest and my triceps, my shoulders maybe, my traps, are trying to keep my traps down. Nah, I mean, your toes are experiencing load from that. Everything's experiencing load, because you just got to figure, if you would understand it if I took a dump truck and sat it on you, because that would make a lot of sense. It'd flatten you right out, and then you would understand where the load went and where the fascia couldn't handle it anymore, and then you just smash, and next thing you know, you're a pile of nothing. That's when fascia couldn't handle it anymore. You see it taking it and it distributes as much as it can. Well, I just had a dump truck sit on me, but I was just sitting down, or it just hit my upper body, why did it load up my lower body? Same thing. Why I'm doing bench press, why is my legs getting loaded up? I mean, everything is affected by anything you load your body up with, and that's why, I mean, my new book is going to be, gotta move that thing, pop-ups. My new book's going to be called like A Walk Through Gravity, because that's my life. It's just describing gravity, the way it affects us, the way we change it through training and leverage our body different. It's all gravity. We're just manipulating gravity. We've added new gravity through weights. We've added this through this. So, I mean, to take away from this, guys, I'm trying not to make these videos super long, because I want you guys to actually watch them. I know I don't watch certain things if they're too stupid long, but I hope you got the gist of it in the beginning if you didn't watch all of this. But fascia builds up to respond to whatever we're doing to the body. So if you're going to scrape things away, or if you superficially roll back and forth with the foam roller or anything like that, you're essentially just creating more of a need to the body to create more fascia. That's why when you use the foam roller, I preach to use it for 3 to 5 minutes and stay on the area and work it back and forth slowly, 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 slowly. Now, do I disagree with like using her fascia blaster as a warm-up? No, I wouldn't say that I disagree with that. You could do it, but I would be very light. Like I said, you would start with almost no stimulation and then work into it. But for me, I would never really be fast. It would never, never, never be fast. There's not a reason for it to me, and you can get a lot more done if you were going through there, because what you're trying to do, I don't care if it's fascia or anything, to get anything to break away or whatever, you have to stretch it. So to go on top of it, that's why I don't believe in rolling around on the foam roller, because we're trying to grab these layers, these webs. Go to like online and look at cadavers or the bodies exhibit at the Luxor here. Look at the way the muscle fibers actually run. Don't think of them as one big block. Think of them as all these different fibers. Look at those fibers and you'll see, and you'll start to feel, like look at it on your laptop or whatever while you're foam rolling. And then you'll feel as you move the foam roller how it catches these layers and goes across, and as you push them and don't let the foam roller get over them or roll over them or go over top of them, you can take that layer and pull it into a stretch and hit the Golgi tendon organ, which is inside every muscle. That's what we're stimulating to get the muscle to release. Basically, it's a fail-safe in case something happens too heavy or too fast. So we're essentially tricking the body by pressing on a localized spot. You would feel weight from like a leg extension or a leg press. You would feel it from like our feet or our hands or stuff, or be loaded up differently. You'd never really feel it right, like, oh, I'm not working my chest, so I put the weight on my chest. You would never do that. Well, that's what we're doing with the foam roller and stuff like that. So by doing that, we're basically tricking the body into thinking there's like a bazillion pounds on that area. And then you do it long enough and in the right way. So by moving that tissue and grabbing it, you're creating more load. So say we have 20 pounds of pressure on there. Then we actually take and we push that into a stretch where we're adding just an infinite amount of load to that. So it's going to be 20 pounds is now going to turn into 50 pounds because we do it. Will you get it into that right position close to the joint and then push it, and then boom, you'll feel a pulse. And that like that twitch is actually getting the release that you want. But that's what patience and pressure is. My whole practice, everything I do is patience and pressure. And you have to, I'm looking at my foam roller, I'm sorry, I don't know why I do that, but the foam roller needs to be used to create deep, constant pressure. You focus on that knot until it's gone. Now you could use the fascia blaster and do this. You can use anything. I tell people you can use the wall, you can use whatever. You don't have to buy anything. I don't believe you need to buy anything if you don't want to, because honestly my shoulder was killing me these last 2 weeks as I finally fixed some stuff that's been lingering and took the time on vacation to do it. Well, it set off like Pandora's box, and you know what I do today 3 times in between the beginning of my sessions, you know, I would just lean against the wall, pull my shoulder blade open, get that whole strap that everybody complains about right here, and I would just use the wall and slowly push it down. Best thing you can do ever. It's just that hard, blunt pressure. You keep it on there and you get it enough, you don't even have to fully break the area. And the nervous system will, you'll feel that pulse even before you broke up the whole area. Now, once you get that big pulse and it's released, all the fascia and everything there, you don't even have to touch it. The body does not keep non-essentials. I'm here to tell you. When you get the right amount of stuff fixed up and you get the right amount of inflammation off your body, the water that you're holding in all these problem areas, gone. It just falls off. The body's not going to waste calories keeping stuff on it when you've given it the resolution to it. You fixed the problem. You've given it the answer, and therefore the body's like done instantaneously. I'll give you one example. I've had somebody who was basically like laying down, had their leg pulled like a prone leg curl, like a hamstring curl. I had their leg pulled and all their hamstrings were sticking up like a graph like this, sticking up. And, you know, I talk about how the muscles work with the hip. So I basically release the hip and then all of the muscles simultaneously go flat completely. Every single one of them, the body released all of it just because the hip seated exactly where it needed to be and every single muscle just completely went away. Well, guess what else happened? Over the next few days, that cellulite look on the back of her leg, it dissipated completely. And it just basically looked like it started to fade away. And I mean, over the next whatever, it completely dissipated, but it started within a couple of days. You started noticing it. Well, I mean, she fixed the problem area. The muscles swelled up, filled with blood. It pushed out against the surface. Now all those fatty pockets that were building up, those cellulite pockets that build up, are simply because the muscle behind them typically is too tight. And when a muscle gets tight, it pulls into the surface. Therefore, the stuff is allowed to collect around the top of it. Cellulite can build up real easy. When we start to release these areas, it pushes out. That fat is like seeding an egg against the frying pan. Now it burns, it just gone. So there's a lot more to it, and there's a lot simpler way of thinking about it. So again, I'm not talking trash about the Fascia Blaster. I'd love to try it. I'm going to play around with some stuff when I do it, so take some videos and show you the way that I would do it. Maybe she can take something that I say from it and hope that she doesn't get upset that I made this video about her, because that's not my intention. And if it was, I'd delete this video before I would ever post it. It's not my intention to ever sit there and say something about somebody or to deface it. In fact, like, some people are probably going to try it based on what I say, and she, you know, there's, like I say, there's no bad media. So I try to be as cordial, nice, and just talk about it. And when I do get to try it, then I can make my own opinion about that. I just talk based on what I do know and what I can guarantee based on just 16 years of work. But foam roller, using it the way it is in my videos and stuff, drawing that from the inside out, that's the proper way to do it. It will disintegrate all the fascia. It will open up the muscle better than anything. I mean, deep pressure, it doesn't matter what it is. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's foam roller or if you take the Fascia Blaster and press down really freaking hard and break up an area and just let it go for a long time. It's going to do the same thing. It doesn't matter what it is. So for me, I would do the Fascia Blaster more methodical, slower, break it up. You know, to her, she does it. Like I said, it still works, but I mean, hell, there's some stuff that we see go down in Hollywood to make people look better that a lot of us wouldn't even venture down. So, I mean, I'm not comparing her that she's nowhere near, like, there's nothing dangerous that I would say about, you know, what she's doing. There's nothing that I say is too invasive about it. There's nothing that I say is negative about it. I just say this is I always give my 2 cents, and I always tell you just the way that I would do things, and in hopes that somebody learns something about them. So I hope you guys like this video. I'm about to post it, and then get my hands on one of those, and then I'll post a new video whenever I have tried it out. So thanks for listening, guys. If you're not following me, Instagram @MuscleWhisperJosh. This was about the Fascia Blaster. Ashley Black Guru is on Instagram also, so check her out too, and you can see kind of what I'm talking about. So if you don't know what the Fascia Blaster is, go check her out. All right, guys.